Well, I think what we are going to do is just see if we can't cut this thing off with the old grinding wheel. Now, this old grinder don't have a guard on it, and I know we'll probably hear a little bit about that, but there's 4 or 5 of them around here. Well, I don't know where all the other ones are. I think a couple of them in the truck. Let's see what we can do here. Well, we'll get us a grinder, and we need to grind that up a little bit right there. Well, I reckon that'll pass muster. And while we're grinding, let's set these up here and get an idea where we're going to need to grind some paint off on this box blade. So there's pretty smart right there. We'll go on and get a little bit of that off there while we're at it. It might be just as easy for us to get a wrench, and let's just move them hydraulic lines out of the way. Well, I believe that is pretty much going to be it for today. We got that mount taken off. We got that all paint ground off of that, and we got the other side ready right here. A bit ground off of that. So tomorrow we need to take that bracket that's laying down there. I guess I need to pick it up. Mr. Frost might carry it off. We'll need to weld it on over here somewhere and grind up those brackets we cut with the torch, get them cleaned up, and we'll get ready to get all this welded on. But I'm fixing to go get me some dinner tonight in one of them restaurant places. It's been, I think, a year since I went out, had any dinner anywhere. And I think I only done that once in the last 2.5 years. So I believe I'm going to go get cleaned up, get some of the dirt off of me, and we'll come back next time. We'll get everything out here and get it welded up. Well, we back in the shop this morning. We had us a nice little evening last night when Mr. Frost right here beside me, trying to be nosy. Went out with some friends and I got a little Mexican restaurant. Been to once before. It's been a long time. I think it's been about 8 months since I went out and had dinner, and I've only done that once in the last 2.5 years. So they called. They used to live by me. We used to eat all the time, but they moved a few miles down the road to go to my new house. And they called me. I want to go out to dinner. Man, it was my birthday I had a few days ago, so finally had the time. We did that last night, but I'm gonna tell you, it was nice. It was they're running the rat race now. They're my age, but their children are just now. I think one's fixing to be in high school, and one's a couple years younger. So they're just now getting to running that rat race. So we went out and we had a nice meal. Had something I really liked I had not had before, and it was a pico de gallo that had an avocado chunks in it. And boy, that was pretty sporty. So yeah, I had an avocado pico de gallo. It was pretty good. It had they called it a fry. I think it was a fried street corn type. It's turned into a dip. So a good evening. Actually wore a pair of breeches. I don't wear them very much. They rub the old belly. But It'd been a spell since I wore a pair of regular blue jeans. First time in almost a year and a half, I reckon. Last time I had a pair of them on my little brother's wedding. So don't do that very often. But it was a good evening. Come home, got some rest. Woke up about 4 o'clock this morning, but didn't get out to bed. I hadn't had that opportunity in about 2 months. So what we got to do this morning, we got to finish getting these brackets ready. Now, if you remember, last time I cut this one out on the bandsaw. No bandsaw teeth pretty much wore out. So I cut the next one out with the torch and hand shake a bit, but didn't get that clean and cut. So we need to clean that up with a grinder. The other two brackets, as we said, are different. I cut them off with a torch. I actually did a much better job on them, so they're just going to need a little cleanup. And this piece right here is the piece that we had to take off the box blade. We got to relocate this to another spot. So we need to clean it up a little bit too. Probably going to have to flip it over. We have to make sure. I think we try to weld it back on. Right here, it may be too short to get that piece of metal over, so we need to check on that. But we'll get things clamped down. Let's get these things cleaned up a little bit. Well, I reckon we need to grab a clamp and let's clamp these things down and we'll get them cleaned up a spell. So I reckon we need to get these cleaned up a little bit. Let's clamp them down. We'll clean them up a spell, hit them with a grinder. Won't take long, won't be that hard to do. It's getting hot out already. We had a little rain last night that we really needed. I don't know if my job site got it. It needs it too. But it's going to get humid as hell here for long. All right, let's get this cleaned up right here. Well, I reckon that'll work right there. So we got them close enough. Well, I guess we better try to love on this a little bit right here so we decide which way we want to do it. Now this here we probably better clamp down. That might take off and try to go somewhere else on us. And we wouldn't want that. Well, guess we got that. We might be able to weld this back on like it was. I ended up tearing it a bit right there. Instead of trying to cut that back weld all the way through, I knocked the hell out of it with a hammer. So we need to take a look at our drawings here. I think they tell us where we need to be with our bracketry. So I don't know if y'all can see that right there, but looks like when we put this bracket in off that back mold board, it needs to be about 2¼ inches away from the outside edge. And the front bracket about 2.44, so about 2½, more or less just right inside the arc right there. We got to make sure there's room in there where we can drill to mount that valve assembly and all that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get set up outside and we'll roll the welder to the back and see if everything's ready to go. And we'll come back here in just a little bit. So what I've done is I got this plate pretty much in place right here. I took one of my squares right here using my fixture table. I got these old squares I got several years ago from a fellow on the Instagram of Genuine Metal Craft. He still makes them, so if y'all need a square, that's a right handy one to have. But what I did is I just put a pair of vice grips on that and got that to help hold this, because if you look, I mean, we're sitting on that weld seam right there, so it's kind of wants to fall off. But I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap in there because of that weld seam. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the welder rolled over here, and we'll just tack that in place, and we'll set up the other side and do the same thing. And then once I got them all both tacked in, and we'll weld it in. All right, so we got her tacked in place right there. We got both sides. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna go on and try to weld this side up, and then we'll flip these hoses out of the way. And hey, we'll weld this little tack right there. It's not too sporty. Did have a helmet on, I was trying to do it with my eyes closed. So maybe we'll run us a little stitch right there and come over here, run us a stitch there. That way it don't twist up. It shouldn't. It's heavy enough plate, but always helps just be careful. So we'll get that welded up, and then we'll weld up the other side. And then we'll have to get on our bellies and our back and try to put them gussets in up underneath. Well, got that one welded in. It ain't the prettiest, but you know, it'll work. It's been a while since I did any welding, so I reckon that'll work out just fine. So we'll get this other one welded in, and then we'll get all the gussets in. Let's try to see if we're halfway straight. Think it might be. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Boy, big old magnet just don't want to do nothing right. I'll tell you that daggone son, it's just almost unbearable. God almighty damn. Yeah. Well, we have got those things installed. So up underneath, we got the gussets in, and I'll be the first to admit it looks like a mule's ass sewed up with a logging chain. It is not pretty by no means. This side ain't as bad as the second side was. Yeah, so yeah. I am no good at welding upside down on my back and trying to get in tight spots. I do not bend that well. I'm not very flexible. And then your hair gets pulled, your hat gets knocked off, your helmet gets knocked off, and it just gets maddening as hell, and I just don't do well. So you can see right here where we did the welds on the inside, it bubbled that up pretty good. I guess we got some heat penetration in it. Same thing over there. That's a little bit hot right now, so I don't know if that's just a weld bubble or maybe we got some metal moving. Let's take a gander at it. Okay, yeah, that's just the paint. So I don't reckon she's gonna go nowhere. Like I said, the gussets are not perfect, but you can tell we got a good bit of heat. See right there, that coloration. Check that hose. That coloration, we got some heat on it. This gusset, just the tip of it goes onto there, so that's a good sign. Yeah, we got some heat right there. And the rear gusset, you see we got some heat right there. So that's not bad. Is it perfect? No, it's not. Like I said, I'm just not that good of a welder on my back or on my belly or anywhere that's uncomfortable. It is what it is. So we are going to let this cool down. I believe I am going to go cool down for a few minutes. And then we'll see if I still got a wire wheel somewhere, and we'll take a wire wheel to it and we'll get it dolled up a little bit, and then maybe we can find some paint this week once we get it back on the job site and paint it. But we have it on, and that is the main thing. So now all we will have to do is, once the valve and the mast and all that good stuff comes in, we can finish assembling this project on the job site. So I reckon, other than maybe do a little bit of cleaning up, we'll just kind of leave this one here. We'll just kind of leave this one right here. So I appreciate y'all following along, and maybe we'll get better at doing some of this video stuff. We have got this here polished up a little bit. Not much of that old soot off of there. You know, we had some paint left on there. It was burning off, so I did not worry about it up underneath the bottom. And welds don't look all that good anyway, so it'll be fine. The dirt will clean it up. But I almost forgot, we got one more piece of the puzzle we have to do right here. We need to mount that mount back down. We had to relocate it, that. We got to mount that mount for that hydraulic lockout bar. If you remember right, we had to take that off the side of the main beam in there. So we got it right here, and I'm just going to tack it right there. I'm going to weld it back on the same end that was welded before, even though we got a little twisted when we cut the welds off. But I got it clamped to those squares right there, and then got it clamped down, so it's pretty old straight. So that'll be the last piece of the puzzle on this deal right here until all the other parts come in. So I'm going to go on and get that welded up. Well, we can call this project pretty much done, I reckon. We got that welded on there. And other than getting some paint, and I don't have any of that, so I'll have to find that, pop that on there like that. Get that thing lined up on there, and let's get that lined up on there and see if we can get the pin in it. Well, we got that on there, so it ain't gonna go nowhere. It fits right tight on there anyway. So we got the pin in it. We might need to do a little bending on this wire right here. Doesn't really go into that slot, as y'all can see right there. That's the way it was when we got it. So we'll need to get some paint and paint these things up, and then we can get it back on the job site and start using it. And then when the valve assembly comes in and all the hoses, we'll have to replumb this left cylinder, and those hoses will go into the valve assembly. Then there'll be some more hoses that go from the valve up here that'll plug into the tractor. We got one other little thing we need to do. We'll have to find a bolt. Is when we got it delivery, the hydraulic hose holder bolt was broke off. So when the bolt was bent, it was all thrown in a box with the mounting bolts right there for the hitch. Come in on a semi, so that the hitch was taken off of it. So in the pictures, it was all on there. So I have to assume that it got broke off when they were taking it apart to get it assembled. I mean, I would assume we got broke off when they were taking it apart so they could load it on the trailer. Of course, nothing was said. It was just thrown in a box. But that is actually at the dealer level and not Rome Plow level. So kind of what you expect nowadays. Unfortunate, but it's just the truth. So we'll try to get some paint this coming week and get on there, and then we'll get all the rest of this stuff done. I hope you all enjoyed this, and we're going to try to do a little bit more of this. Maybe we'll get where we're decent at it. So I reckon y'all subscribe or all that other stuff that we're supposed to do to get some viewers out there. I appreciate it.